Hey guys, welcome to the compound. It's your boy Koma here, and I'm doing a little bit of mining redstone out. I've got about 5.5 stacks of redstone sitting around, so I figured I'd kind of mine it all out and see what our profit is off of it. But anyway, I'm gonna start mining this out. I'll see you guys in a sec.
Height limit for building is 250 feet plus. Is 3 URL says shut the fuck up.
Alright. Where'd I put that thing at? Oh, what the fuck? How did you get in my house? Ah! So guys, I finished mining out that redstone. And also I feel like I should correct myself here. There was actually only about 4.5 stacks of redstone there. But we got about 4 stacks out of it. It's really not that bad. I think I moved it. But there was about 4 stacks, which is really not that bad of a profit. Problem is I don't really need redstone. I'm kind of set right now. I've got a lot of redstone. So, with that being out of the way, I can finally invite you guys to the compound. Now, before we start, I think we should talk about some stuff. If you're not interested, you can skip to the time mark shown on the screen. And that is, what exactly is the compound? Well, defined by Google, the compound is just a large area of safe space, right? And that's kind of what the compound started out as. It's a large area that I kind of wanted to build in. I knew I wanted to use sandstone, but I wasn't really sure what I was building with it, right? I don't have any experience building with sandstone. I've never used the pallet before. It seemed like a fun challenge because I've never really built with it, and the pallet's kind of expanded since I've, last taken a look at it. We've gotten smooth and cut sandstone, along with the red variants, and then we've also gotten andesite and granite, which both look pretty great. And then along with that, all the wood looks pretty good. I believe we had all the wood beforehand, but the wood looks pretty good still. And they updated the ore blocks, so they look a lot better now too. So the building style that I've chosen for this season, I guess I should call it, is a more realistic one. It's based off of a lot of real life architecture, right? So I've done some research, and I've been looking around at some ancient desert people. And surprise, surprise, the Egyptians are kind of our best case study here. I swear to God, if you're trying to get onto my dock, you're going to find out the hard way, buddy. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling here, so it's probably time to move on. What is today's project, right? Well, we're actually standing right on top of it. Welcome to the fishing shack. Or, well, I don't know what this place is going to be called now. Originally, it was just a small little house with some auto smelters on top of it, right? So we've got some smelters here and here. Throw your fish in there and it goes down. I can take you down there and show you what it's like. So it takes you down here, right? And down here we've got some output chests for all the cook stuff. And we got kelp over here too. Place isn't completely done, but that's what we're going to be working on today. But the fishing shack used to be pretty small. I've upgraded it since then. And we've got a pretty big building. So today we're going to be working on the top of this thing. We're going to put the roof on it. We're going to put the finishing touches on the top part. There's a lot underground that still needs to be fleshed out and finished, but you know what? I can do that in my free time. Let's work on something that you guys will actually see as we're going around the compound every day. Aha, so I actually imported about 3 villagers to this little complex we got going on here. And unfortunately, 2 of those villagers saw my village and they made a break for it. My village is about like 100 blocks away, so I'm not sure why they're doing that. I'm thinking it's because they already have professions, and most likely someone probably traded with them. So what I did here is I let one of my villagers become a zombie. And I'm hoping that in like a last-ditch effort that by curing him, we'll actually be able to get that, get him a new profession. He might actually stay at this complex here. So, I'm gonna try curing him out, and I'll see you guys in a minute. Alright, I've got some kind of bad news to share here. So, I'm not sure where I heard this, but I remembered hearing that when a villager became a zombie, they lost their profession. And they kind of reset, even if they already had a profession kind of built up. Maybe that was in Java Edition or something, but it does not work on Bedrock. So that's a little bit concerning. That means the only way we can really get a villager over here is by getting some babies over here. And I'm not sure how we're planning to do that now, because this villager is just going to run from my other village. Our friend actually found a little bit of a job here. We can probably clear out some of this bamboo. We don't need that much. Did you just... You f***ing bastard. Good job. Good job. Alright, so it's starting to become nighttime. Kind of curious what this guy's gonna do. Where he's gonna go. There was a bed right over here, so I'm kind of worried he might try to take this bed and use it. It's not exactly the safest bed out there. Kind of hoping he goes for the complex, but I don't think he's gonna go for it. I think our villager friend might be dead. I don't know what he's doing. Come on, guy. Why? The perfect place right here to sleep. But none of them want to live here. They all want to go to that village, or they just want to run away to that area. I'm confused. For those of you who know villagers, please explain. Because it actually hurts my brain. I am in pain. I want die. Alrighty guys, so maybe that last part was a little bit exaggerated. I don't exactly want to die just yet. Maybe for a different project, but not for this one. We're actually moving on to a different project. I wasn't able to record within the last 2 days, so I didn't have any footage to show you guys, but in the spare time that I did have, I spent it working on something else. So my tools were pretty busted. They're looking pretty good now. Still gonna top them off, get them back to their golden state, like my shell ants here. But I figured this is a good time to talk about my skeleton spawner, right? Because I don't think I've mentioned it yet in the episode. Skeleton spawner is actually pretty close by. In fact, if you take this tunnel out here, all the way out, it'll take you to the shore where the fishing dock is. So it's super close by. I said before it's really good for repairing my tools, but there's also a little bit of other benefits that come along with having a skeleton grinder. So we get a lot of enchanted stuff, and especially we get iron, chainmail, and gold gear. Now, it doesn't seem too special because when you melt down gold and iron and chainmail, you only get about 1 nugget, right? So that's not very exciting, but over time it builds up. And for me, since I'm building a city out of gold, I'm gonna need a lot of gold. So this has been a nice way to get some spare materials while I'm doing something, right? I'll give you the rundown of the place I'm doing, or the place I got right now. So I went with a platform design. Pretty simple, nothing crazy. We got some lights inside to turn it on and off. Platform drops down, and we've got a little tunnel that leads over there. Those guys aren't going to go up, unfortunately, because they need to be pushed by other skeletons. So, somewhat flawed design, but I'll fix that eventually. And they go up this tube over here, and it leads you to the surface. And there's a kill chamber up there, and the kill chamber hooks up down to all these chests. So all their loot funnels down to here. And then I've got some barrels in the back here for storing their stuff. But yeah, that's the spawner. I'm going to go through. I'm going to disenchant all this stuff. I'm going to clean out the stuff on the top surface here, where the kill chamber is. And I'm going to get all my levels together, and we'll go enchant some stuff. Hey, f*** you. Fucking bastards. Alright, I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, so I've got some kind of bad news. We had 64 levels, and so what exactly do you think we got out of all that, right? We've got one decent book. The rest got disenchanted. The reason I'm keeping this book is because it's got sharpness and aqua affinity. Both are pretty good. Impaling's cool, but I've got a bunch of those books. Lure I don't really care about. So, great, I guess. I guess that's how the cookie crumbles. Anyway, we got a project to work on, so we're going to move to that now. So, welcome to, well, just a small walk away from the compound. You can see it in the distance there. This was the first skeleton spawner we ever found. First spawner in general, I think. And so we made this into our XP farm for fixing our tools and stuff like that. And we did not exactly maybe use the best method or best design for this. Now, I've torn it all down, and I've, in fact, cleared out some area here. And we're going to be using the same platform design as the one from the compound. But the thing is, the compound's spawner isn't finished. There's a lot of features I didn't add to it yet, right? And there's a lot of features that can be improved on. So I figured this is a good time to get a little bit of practice in, right? Because the spawner isn't actually our main focus. In fact, it's the area right on top of the spawner that we're interested in. We're going to have a giant rose right where this pedestal is. But for now, we've got a hell of a lot of work to do on this. So down here, I want to make kind of like a rib cage around it as our walls. And we'll have sandstone peeking through parts of the rib cage probably. But I'm going to make this a nice little circle around the spawner where you can walk around at. There's going to be some ways to enter in and exit out from down here. And I guess we'll start working on the spawner. But here's the thing. I've already done a time-lapse in this video, and I'm not really certain I want to do a second time-lapse. So I think I'm just going to try to get some work done on this, and I'll come back to you guys when I have something to show you. It's the next day. I've gotten some work done. Figured I'd show you guys what we're working with here. I've carved out about an 8-block layer just to kind of get down here and work on the redstone. So the first thing I think we really do need to set up is the lighting for this thing. And it's come to my attention that we don't need as many lights as I originally had first thought. So, these 4 lights are really all we need to turn the spawner off, surprisingly. We don't need these guys, so they'll be ripped out eventually. And we won't have to have any redstone behind them either, which is going to free up some room. We can probably put some windows through there, maybe. But this brings us to our first redstone project, the on-off switch for the lighting. I'm just going to say this right now. I was almost 100% sure this would continue to work, but I just got proven wrong. So, what do we got in front of us, right? Well, this is the most recent version of a T flip-flop, and if you don't know what that is, essentially, when you click a button for redstone, it sends out a pulse. The pulse doesn't stick around, it eventually goes away, it disappears. If you place down a redstone torch, you get a signal that doesn't stop until you remove the torch or a part of the redstone. What this does is it turns the pulse into a signal, so you can hit the button and it's going to turn it into essentially a lever flick. The lever flick turns this piston on, and this piston extends, hits the observer, and it turns on this T flip-flop. This T flip-flop then sends a signal up to the lighting. Now, let's talk about some of the problems that come with building this, right? So, we've got a very small area here. We want to make sure that the skeletons are falling, and this block kind of blocks them from falling all the way down. They might get stuck on here and they'll walk around in the redstone. So the only time we want this block to extend is when we're turning the lights on, because that's the only time skeletons won't land on it. Problem I'm finding though is our observers are kind of finicky, right? So while this should send a pulse out to this guy, sometimes it doesn't, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. I'm pretty sure it's the observer causing the problem, which is kind of a big problem for me because this is a very major part of the whole system. We need this piston that shoots out to turn the lights on. So I'll show you kind of a demonstration. It pulls the piston back, the lights all turn off, and the skeletons should start falling down. Hi, guy. Now, if you click this, it should theoretically turn the lights back on. But it doesn't. So actually, before I go here, I kind of wanted to show you the test I built of it, because the test one actually works, right? So same setup, we just got a little bit of a redstone line here. But essentially, you click the button, it pops out, hits the observer. The observer updates the T flip-flop, and this should turn the lights on, right? And when you turn it back off, it turns the lights off every single time. So I have a few theories on why this might be happening. I'm guessing it could be one of three things, right? The first thing is that our server has a little bit of lag, right? So maybe the realms is lagging and it's causing the observer to do a double take on its feed, right? So it's saying, oh hey, I just got ticked 2 times, so I'm going to activate twice, which would turn the light on and then turn it back off. It could also be that I messed up one of these small little components here. And then the third thing, it could be that some of this machinery has to face a certain direction. For those of you who didn't know in the past, the old T flip-flop mechanic had to face a certain direction or it wouldn't work. So I don't know quite what the problem is, but those are my guesses. In fact, this is lined up pretty much perfectly, the only difference being that this is on this side, on the left, instead of the right. So I'm a little bit dumbfounded. I'm not really quite sure. And this all fits in the 5x5 area that we have. So I'm not quite certain why it's behaving so differently. It could be that the item we have in the dropper also is causing problems, but I don't think that's the case. Alright, so despite all of that, I actually think I might have it working now. So let's just test it out here. So the piston is retracted and it is off. And if we put the piston back, the lights are back on. So I don't quite know what the original problem was. For those wondering, what I did is I just ripped out this whole piece right here and rebuilt it. Just 4 blocks, and it seems to be working right now. So maybe I had a dropper facing the wrong way? Question mark? It didn't look like that from when I was tearing it apart. It didn't look like I did it wrong, but I guess this is going to be a problem that if it starts acting up again, we'll have to revisit this whole system. But for right now, I think it's working. I'm going to try relogging and trying it again, just to see if leaving the server breaks anything, but it's working now. Alright, so I did relog, and it's actually working completely fine now. I don't really know what the problem was, but I think we got our lighting figured out. So with that being said, I think the next plan, like I said before, is to start working on the tube where they're going. I'm not really sure what we're doing on the surface yet, and I'm not sure all the features I'm going to add to it, but I'll talk about what I've been thinking of, right? What I've been thinking up, what I've been cooking in the kettle. Alright, so I've been thinking about adding a 2-station drop area, right? So skeletons will go up a tube to the surface, and there will be a drop tube at the surface where they all drop into. But I'm thinking we make the floor retractable so that if we're down here, inside the spawner, down in this area, that the skeletons can also drop down here as well. But that also brings up where we're storing all the items. I'm thinking what we'll do is we're going to carve out another 8 blocks or so underneath me right now, and we'll put down a storage system underneath. That way we can collect the stuff from the top section of the spawner, and we can also collect the stuff from the middle section of the spawner, and it'll all collect at the very bottom part of it. So welcome back, guys. It is the next day, and you're looking at the progress I got done last night on this thing. And wow, does it look like something, I'll tell you that. It looks really strange from up here, and it looks really cool actually, to be honest. We're gonna fly down and take a look at all the work I got done on this bad boy. So, I didn't really completely finish this thing off, but I did add a few things to it, right? So I added a nice outside layer to it. It's not completely finished in the area where I thinking we're gonna put the entrance at. But I also put down a little bit of a floor up here. I'm not sure where we're gonna put the entrance downwards to this thing. Cause we're gonna make this multi-leveled. And I kind of wanted to do a spiral staircase, but I don't know how we're doing that now. At least with this upper setup. So I'm probably going to have to change some stuff around still yet here. But yeah, we got the lights ripped out. We got some more space in this boy. I figured I'd show you some of the big stuff I did, right? So, I finally got the tunnel down here figured out. It's not exactly the fastest thing ever, but we got ice, just in case. Skeletons will push each other, and that'll make them go faster. So that's better. The ice tube brings you over here, brings you up the tube, and you're at basically one of the intersects of the spine, or the, right here. Just on the outside of the building. So, we got the piping all hooked up now, which is pretty good. I'm not really sure what the next move is on this bad boy. To be honest, I think we're going to take some time away from this thing and work on something else. There's some stuff that we got to do before the video ends, though. So we're going to jump over to a different area, and we're going to finish the video off there. Alright, so I kind of get that I didn't really show off what I built earlier. I just kind of showed you the montage. I want to show you what actually happened, right? So we're going to call this place Complex A. I think we're going to set up different complexes around the compound. Oh god, that's going to be a tongue twister. That's going to be a tongue twister, okay. But the reason I'm calling it a complex is just because it's a giant building that's meant to house, like, at least 20 villagers. So, I'm thinking we set up multiple complexes around the place, and we'll just have these be sleeping areas for the villagers. I don't know if they'll actually use it. Like I said before, the villager AI is a little bit weird. So, I'm going to have to figure out the specific mechanics to how villagers react to villages, and their tracking range and stuff like that, before I try to build another one of these things. For now, I think it's a good replacement. It looks good. They're still not finished, but we got some really good work done on this. So let's get through and take a small little look, right? So it's a little fishing dock, right? So we want this to be place that's pretty kitted out in fishing stuff. We're eventually going to get fishing poles for all these armor stands. Nice little fishing dock up here. This is not anywhere close to being done. I'm just not sure how to fill the space, to be honest. I think I showed back here, we've got a cartography table back here. I think we had a cartographer at one point, but I don't know where he went. So, no more cartographer. Upstairs, pretty simple. Not even really that done up here, but we got storage and secret places. We got a really cozy looking living room going on here. Some decent looking views of the pillager inside of my animal farm. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that yet either. It was gonna be a three circle farm, but I don't know what I'm doing there. Anyway, moving on. I think the views are pretty good at least. I'm not sure we're putting over on that hill either, so we'll have to be kind of wary about that. We got access to the top here, and we can go up even farther. This tower isn't finished. I should have said that. Nowhere close to being done yet. But we got the first level in the tower, right? I don't know what it's gonna be for. To be honest, I kind of just thought it looked aesthetically pleasing. Although I'm starting to think maybe the pillars were a bad idea. We got our first bedroom in here. First really good looking bedroom, I should say. This also needs a fishing pole. We've got our cauldron for our water, stuff like that. Barrels, beds, nothing too crazy in this one. There's lots of beds, places for them to sleep, and then we've got some outdoor patio storage. I don't know if we're ever going to need this much storage. I feel like I should say that. A lot of our storage is underground for the fish, and I don't know what else we're going to store in this place, to be honest. So, Complex A. Glad we got some work done on it. I think it's looking a lot better. I think there's some stuff I still need to work on. But, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it so far. Alright, so this is usually the point in the video where I'd read out a comment and I'd say my goodbyes for the day, but being that this is the first episode, I don't have any comments to share with you guys. So, with that being said, I think this is a good time to plug myself. If you have any questions about the series or anything you think that you could do better, you can send me pictures on Twitter or you can leave a comment down below. Of course, like I said before, I will be answering comments at the end of the video. It won't be every comment in the video because that'd take too long, but I will answer a few comments here and there. So, I just want to say thank you guys for watching, being patient, waiting for the series to come out. I hope you guys are having a great 2020, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. See you later.